4 months ago in November, torrential rains and a burst dike in the Fraser Valley led to extensive flooding in the Sumas Flats. And during that time, I was out meeting guys like this, Dan and John. John's in the yellow there. And John is standing on the back patio of his home. And this is the inside of his home about 2.5 weeks after the floodwaters went down. And you can see just how high the water went. Those lines on the wall are the levels that the water rose up to. And everything that was in the path of the water was destroyed. This is John's kitchen. It's just, there was nothing salvageable. His home and all his belongings were completely destroyed.
I wasn't even home when this happened. I was on vacation. My son was here. So he was actually contacting us while we were in Hawaii, and he was telling us the water's coming up. And you know, we've seen water come up before, but nothing, you know, again, I wasn't here to experience the amount of rain, but he was getting prepared to get out. He was trying to get my truck moving. He had his truck, which is over there, and I guess the dams broke and the water came rushing through here like a river, and he couldn't get out. He had to get rescued. He called 911 and waited for search and rescue for 10 hours, and he was in his room. He was trying to get that boat, if you saw there, to float so he could get up on the roof, but he couldn't. The boat didn't have the plug, so he waited till 3:30 in the morning. Jesus. And we were all calling 911 and calling for search and rescue, and they finally got here. I mean, it was dangerous, it was scary, it was -1 degree, and thankfully him and our dog, Bernie's mountain dog, got rescued right out of their window of the bedroom.
Now, as John mentioned, both the dog and his son were rescued, and here's Bowser on the property when I went out there the other day to see John and to check up on how he and his dog and his family are doing.
This is where, remember, the hot water tank had floated up, was completely wrecked, so we decided to go with this on-demand heat, right? Because like you said, now's the time to do it.
While we were talking here, John volunteered that he had some footage that he'd shot on his phone from 2 weeks after the initial floodwaters, when he was first allowed to come back to the home.
All right, well, this is our place after 1 week after the flood hit. There's still like 3+ feet of water. This is where Jordan was when he was rescued. You can see the water's come down over a foot. And when he was here, that bed was still on the ground. It's floating still. The lights are on still. The washing machine is still on and leaking. We've got just some valuables out of here. I shut the door. We're gonna go get that white thing that's banging into the house out there, and this is what's left. The kitchen, and brand new fridge, still paying for it. 10-year warranty, nice. You can see how high the water is. We're leaving that. There's Max's boat out there. It's secured against the deck. It's not going anywhere. And that's about all that's left. Just from here up. And more rain's coming, so we're not going to be out here for quite a long time. Very sad. Very sad. All the work we did here. You know, can't even really imagine. All this is all redone. Heated floors. We might be able to salvage a few things. You know, but here's the rescue boat, the jet boat that Jordy's brought me out in. So we'll be back to clean up. Yeah.
4 months later, the house still looks like this, and John's still out here working to get it back to the way it was.
So this is the bedroom where Jordan and our dog Bowser were basically waiting for 10 hours as the water was coming up. This was our master bedroom. This is where I came through when I came with a jet boat.
Yeah.
About a week after the flood, and the water was still. Everything's new. This ceiling, was saved.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, the water was up to here, and then it seeps up through, and it got, this high, so we just went all the way up to the ceiling.
Now, there was a wall here before, wasn't there?
Well, that is one thing we decided to do, was knock the wall down.
Open
and
concept.
Make it a big open concept, great room they call it. So,
That's
there was a whole couple pocket doors there. They were all rotten, had to be removed. So,
yeah,
we got a builder, and him and I worked together to come up with a plan to make this a great room now. Now the deck was great. It's fine. It was treated wood, and the weight of the boat didn't damage it.
that's good.
But we built this to withstand a flood and a boat.
After the initial flood in this area, the weather got worse. We had snow and freezing rain. It's been an exhausting few months for John, and there's lots of work that needs still to be done.
We were living in different hotels, trying to stay as close as we could with our dog. Every day, all I would do is deal with sump pumps, like pumping out the water. The driveway was frozen. We always get drifts. I had bought another 4x4 because my truck was underwater. I lost my F-150, so I bought a Ford Ranger with 4x4, and I had to use that to get through the drifts to get to the house. And yeah, there wasn't much we could do. I mean, we got some heaters. We put them back in our sheds, and we had a little propane heater, and we would just heat some hot water just so we could work on cleaning some stuff. Like I needed to clean tools and things that we tried to salvage, and we've been doing it ever since. We're still cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Like 4 months later.
How many days a week do you just want to give up?
Well, we knew right from the beginning that we had to rebuild, and we just focused on what it was going to look like when we're done. That's all me and my wife have been focusing on. But yeah, there's days when you don't want to come out here. Or there's just nothing we could do. They're shutting power off, and there's freezing water. I had all my outside water taps froze, and I had to replace all those. I mean, it's just it was like 2 steps backwards every time you come out here.
Do you get nervous when it rains now?
Well, I sure did when that rain hit into December there. They called it another atmospheric river, and these ditches, because it hadn't really dried up, the ground was saturated. These ditches were full. It looked like it was coming over again, and I had 5 sump pumps going, just pumping it back into the ditch. But it's once it goes over that ditch, there's nothing we can do. Well, we did get a lot of help. So we had, emergency services the first while that were helping us with the hotels. And then Red Cross took over, so they were helping us. That seems to have come to an end. But locally, Arnold Church really came through with some donations. The Yarrow Food Hub, awesome place every day. Not only helping with food and clothes and tools and stuff, but just the community support, and even bringing helpers out and organizing for volunteers to come out to help. I have seen people cleaning out the ditches now with big equipment. They're starting to, right? And they need to keep working on it because there's still a lot. But there's been a lot of people coming out to clean the fields. There's been a lot of volunteers. And
why rebuild here?
Well, to be honest, I mean, we've been here 26 years. It's our farm, a hobby farm, and we love living here, right? And we look forward to the summer. We look forward to having people out here again and being like it was before. We had great family gatherings, and it's our family home. So we know there's a threat, and actually it is a good question, because the one thing that I've been really watching and want to be more involved with is the maintenance of these dikes, because I just read this morning that BC is working with Washington. They've got a group put together, and they're going to be getting the funds put together and the effort to maintain these dykes and work with the natives and make sure the fish and the farmers are looked after. That's encouraging, because I think that's the most important thing. Like, we all live here and we don't want to go through this again. From what I hear, it's my biggest concern is the U.S. side, the Nooksack, and how it came through here, and from what I've read and heard, they aren't doing anything about it. So I'm hoping that this new coalition between BC and Washington can put some more focus on, I know that they can maintain those dikes, and they need to, and they can do it without damaging the fish. I mean, it's nothing you can do other than have them clean their river out. I mean, that's all they got to do. They don't dredge it. They don't clean it out. They let it go. They're worried about the salmon eggs, and they're, and slowly over the years it fills up with silt, and then when you get a big river or atmospheric river, it just blows out the dike, and they know that it blows out. They purposely let it go through Sumas, knowing it's coming into Canada. That's the easy way out for them. Just let it go into Canada, which they can't do that. I mean, that's just, they're supposed to be our neighbors. And there's no sandbags around here that could save us if this happens again, right? It's an 8-foot lake.
We're almost 6 months on and you're still washing stuff. So everything dirty came in here and just got hand washed, right? Like,
pretty much, we just washed my golf clubs today. They've been dirty for 4 months. And, had to throw the bag out. My buddies want me to go golfing with them. Well, I mean, there were some family photos that, we had kept high that weren't in the water that we saved. There was a couple, floating on top of the bed that was floating, and there were some books and photo albums on there, and some in Ziploc bags for some reason that we managed to save. So we do have some, and even some, that were all in that cellophane, or
behind
binders, and we were able to peel it off and save the photos. So
that's good.
So those were my wife was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Even our wedding photos, a few of those. So those were some big wins, I guess.
And so John and his family press on, rebuilding their family home with an eye to the future and preventing something like this from happening again.
I want to get involved. I will go to these meetings and put pressure on them and remind them, years from now, what we all went through, because it's going to be hard to forget, that's for sure.